Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Check the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest today, former Nebraska quarterback Jammal Lord. How you doing, Jammal?
I'm all right. Are you seeing yourself?
I'm glorious, man. I appreciate you joining me. What are you up to nowadays? Where are you living? What are you doing nowadays?
Well, right now I'm living in Houston, Texas. I've been down here since I've been back and forth home in New York, New Jersey, and Texas since '05. But now I'm down here in Houston, Texas full time. I'm working at UPS as a supervisor. So I'm living life right now, brother. Just enjoying life and I feeding the family.
They got you in charge of people? Man, that could be scary.
They got me in charge of people. I'm grown men. Nothing changed, AC. Nothing changed.
Do you ever get back to see any Nebraska games, any practices, or when's the last time you've been back?
Last time I've been back was I went back maybe 2018 and 2019, I believe. I'm not sure.
Okay, so that was before Frost was hired?
Wasn't too far ago.
Was that before Frost was hired or after?
No, that was after Frost was hired. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Have you had a chance to watch the Huskers? And if you have, what are your thoughts on the offense and, what you've seen?
My thoughts on the offense, AC, is, man, we need an O-line, brother. I'm not sure. I mean, the O-line, D-line, as you know, it cures a lot of things. You know what I mean? Either winning and losing football games. You know what I mean? It cures a lot of things. It helps the running game. It just helps out everything, the guys up front, because they're a big part of everything that happens in football is the guys up front. When those guys are lacking, no matter who you got in the backfield, it's not going to work. I'm not saying it's not working, but right now it's like, it's still iffy right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're definitely building it for sure. They're bringing in some size. I mean, there's some potential that they could have the biggest O-line here in the near future in the Big Ten. I know they're working towards that. So I'm curious, because you played obviously in Solich's offense, okay? And that was a little bit different offense than what Frost is running. I mean, do you have and obviously, be honest and say what you're comfortable with saying, but which offense would you prefer to play in? And what are your thoughts on the spread offense that Scott Frost has potentially working or not working in the Big Ten?
I like both offenses, to be honest with you, AC, you know what I mean? Obviously, playing in that old Husker offense, it was mainly, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Don't care how you take it. This new offense is kind of like, I can't even describe it. You know what I mean? But I know it starts and ends with the guys up front. When the guys are being physical and they're pounding people, we can't be beat. We can't be stopped. But we start getting you get a little fancy and all that. That's when trouble happens. I'm not saying we're being fancy, but it's not the same sandwich. It's just totally different. You know what I mean? It's just different. It's night and day.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for sure. So you know how Facebook will have those old posts from like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and it'll pop up and like, hey, remember this post? So about a month ago, this post popped up, and it was a post that I had put out of you, and I forget what the caption said, but it was you, and it was against Penn State, and I was kind of like reminding people, hey, Jammal was a pretty good quarterback, show the guy some love. I forget exactly what the caption was, and I remember I scrolled through the comments, and I had forgotten this, but you actually commented on it, and you said we didn't win enough. And I had forgotten about that. And obviously you had some success. You did a lot of good things. I was there for part of it as well. But if you could go back and change something, and just reading your comment that you wrote a couple, 3 years ago, and maybe you don't remember this, if there was something you could change from your time there, what would you have done differently?
Just win more games. You know what I mean?
Just get right to the point.
Seriously, at the same time, AC, my junior year, all those guys that were playing, we was like our first year starters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember that.
Just running around just learning as it goes. You know what I mean? But if we had more experience going into that year, it'd help out a whole lot more. But you can't take back what happened at that time. Yeah, Eric winning the Heisman. You know what I mean? Our team was loaded. We were stacked. And everybody had to wait their turn.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Frost is trying to get the Huskers over the hump. Obviously, everybody's trying to get the win, trying to get the W. So winning more games, what do you think particularly might have helped that and might help Frost now in this moment? I know you've talked about the offensive line. Is there anything else that comes to mind when you want to answer that question?
No, it's football is simple. I mean, it's simple as you know. Hey, if the O-line, D-line is dominant, your linebackers are going to be flying to the ball. Your back's going to be hitting the hole 5 yards down the field without even being touched. You know what I mean? And those are things between winning and losing games. The guys up front, period.
Now, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask this question because I was there. Obviously, you were there. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it's in the past, but I'm like, man, I got to ask Jammal this question. When Solich was fired, and obviously it's years ago in the past, I don't know if you've ever answered this publicly. Maybe you have. When Solich was fired, what was your reaction to that?
I thought it was my fault. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, I thought it was... You could have blamed me for that, you know what I mean? For our junior going 7-7 and then losing to K-State on our not a homecoming, but on senior day. It's just small stuff like that. It just builds up, you know what I mean? Yeah. And at the end of the day, those games, we have to win. You got to win at home, at Nebraska. You know what I mean? And I think that, and me personally, I thought that it was partially my fault.
I got you. I did not anticipate that answer, but sometimes as a player you look at things differently. And obviously, there's some things that you did really, really well as well. I was just a young pup watching you and some of the other guys play, and then I got my turn after you guys graduated and went on. But what are some of your fondest memories from your time at Nebraska?
Man, it was just meeting guys like you, AC, you know what I mean? Just on the bench. Not on the bench. I'm not saying that you were on the bench, but as a senior.
I was.
Watching you,
it's okay.
Me being a senior and watching you play against, what game was it? I think our last game was against Colorado, actually. And I believe you had like 2 sacks. I didn't see that coming. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I ain't 2 sacks? And at the end, I think you just thrived. You know what I mean? I like seeing that. It was like memories I see like of not only you, but like a Corey Ross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just seeing these guys grow and develop and being playmakers at Nebraska. That's my best experience. Just seeing guys just experience and go through tribulation, the ups and downs, and still come out on the other end. I mean, just a brand new person, a brand new man.
It's funny you say that because up until then, I wasn't sure I could play at Nebraska, and I hadn't.
You see what I'm saying? All you needed was that spark.
Yeah.
All you needed was that spark.
Yeah, and I frankly hadn't read a whole lot of positive things about myself up until that point, but I'll never forget. I hadn't, man. I was too slow and athletic. I'd have to go to the offensive line.
I read all the comments.
Yeah, man. So it was funny because my sister married into a family, all Colorado Golden Buffalo fans at the time. And then I remember getting on the field, and DeMario Williams was yelling at Joe Klatt, the quarterback. And I don't know what they were yelling at each other about. All I heard was, "I'm a man. I'm a grown man." And I'm like, oh, it's real out here. And then, I was able to get to Joel a couple of times that day. But that was really because Jamrog, the D-line coach, wasn't even going to play me. And then
that's crazy.
I had a good week of practice. He threw me out there, and then that's when I got the confidence. And it all kind of started with DeMario getting in Joel's face, yelling, "I'm a man." I don't know what was saying before that, but that kind of sparked everything. So it's funny you say that.
He was made his statement being known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of guys that I love and hung out with the DeMario Williams, the Bernard Thomases, you know what I mean? The TJ Hollowells, all those guys up front, you know what I mean? Those guys are dear friends of mine. And we made it a point to make it a point, hey, man, we're going to play this game as hard as every game, not just this game, every game, as hard as we can, give it all and leave it on the field. And if they don't like it, then you can't go home and say, well, I didn't play hard enough today. Leave everything on the field, every game. Every time you're on the field, leave it there.
For sure.
Ass man.
DeMario is one of my favorite players ever, not just because I played with him, not just because I was young and looked up to him, but he was a linebacker, and he was undersized. Now, he was listed at 220, 225. That was a lie. I watched him get on that scale every week for weigh-ins. He was 205 every week.
Easy.
And he would turn around, and he would tell the guy writing it down, he would tell him 220, 225, which wasn't the truth. Yeah. And then they moved him to D-end, and he was running around tackles that were 320.
Making plays.
Oh, man.
Making plays.
I loved watching guys like him play. And when he got in Joel's face that particular day, that's kind of what sparked me that day. So that was pretty cool. So when you're watching a Nebraska football game nowadays, and you're hoping the Big Red gets rolling, and, you got Scott Frost, some fans like, Scott's the guy. Some are like, we don't know anymore. And obviously, this can be a bit of a hot topic question, so answer it however you want. Where do you sit on Scott? Like, do you think he has to prove it this year? Do you think he's got a couple more years? What are your thoughts?
I say let Scott do his job. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I stopped nitpicking. You know what I mean? Just let him do his job. Oh, we need a fullback in the game. Oh, we need another quarterback. Oh, we need a tail. Whatever. Just let him do his job. I mean, he's been paid to do his job. Let him do his job. And if at a certain point he's not doing it well, then I believe the powers that will be, the people above that, they'll let him know that he's not doing a good job and they'll let him go. But until then, let him do his job. That's all.
What would you consider a success? Assuming we play a normal 12-game season this year, what would you consider a successful season for the Huskers in 2021?
Personally?
Yeah.
Beat Rutgers, beat Penn State, beat them. You know what I mean? But on the outside looking in, I mean, you get to a bowl game. You know what I mean? Get to a bowl game, a decent bowl game. You know what I mean? A decent bowl game and win, and start to build what's it called?
Some continuity, some momentum.
Next year and years to come. Just start winning. Just start winning now. Don't wait.
I like that. Don't wait. Just win now. I like that.
Yeah.
No wonder you're in charge. I like it, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you keep in touch with many of your former Husker teammates or people that were there when you were there? Who do you keep in touch with?
Big P, maybe last week Big P is in Patrick Akabongo.
What's he up to? Because he went to Canada and he turned into an old lineman up there.
Yeah, he's in Canada right now. I think he's working at don't give me the line. I'm not too sure, but I think he's working in an oil field up there in Canada.
Okay.
And doing different things. But yeah, I can live with a couple guys. Like even some old heads down here in Texas, I still talk to. Sandman, that is Broderick Thomas. I talk to him maybe every other day. You know what I mean? I speak to Bernard Thomas every other day.
Okay.
Jarrell Pippins. I mean, just those are my guys. So those are my brothers. Those are not my guys. Those are my brothers. And we still in contact damn near every day.
J. Pip is a model now, ain't he?
J. Pip is a little bit of everything right now. He's a little bit of everything right. He's an entrepreneur, so he's doing his thing though.
I see his mugshot on Facebook all the time. He looks like a model, and then I knew Patrick turned to the dark side, the old line.
Yeah.
So
he's in commercials. He's
doing well.
He's letting his wings, just spreading his wings and flying.
That's awesome, man. Last question I got for you. Do you have any like behind-the-scenes stories or maybe something people don't know about you that you'd be comfortable sharing with the fine folks at home?
Well, I don't know. This may be well, I tell you, I'm not sure if I ever spoke about this or not, but I believe it was my junior actually when we played after the Iowa State game. I was supposed to get benched for I believe it was Kurt Dukes.
Yeah.
So I think that whole week out in practice or whatever Kurt Dukes went through, he did everything. It was him and Mike Stunts. So I think I called my mom maybe that, I think they told me on Monday. I think I called my mom that same Monday. Like, Mom, I'm coming home. You know what I mean? This is something to act like, you know what I mean? Like matter of fact, they're blaming everything on, this is how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? They're blaming everything on me. This isn't fair. My mom like, shut up. I mean, just everybody not your friend, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody not your, and you're not coming back here, so what you got to do? You know what I mean?
She said you're not coming back here?
You're not coming back home.
Yeah.
I was the first person in my whole family, to go to college.
Okay. That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean? So it hits different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mom said, no, you're not coming back home, so you better stay out there and just do what you got to do, basically. Everybody's not your damn friend, so you better do what you got to do. And I think from that game, I think we played McNeese State the next game. I think from that game on, I take everything personal.
Yeah.
I take everything personal. I made it personal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, I'm giving you 150% of Jammal Lord. Everything. If it's not enough, then hey, I can never go home and say, you know what? I didn't do this good today, or I didn't do that good today, but I left it all on the field, regardless. And that's my behind-the-scenes story on Nebraska football, because the rest is history after that.
I appreciate that, man, and I appreciate your honesty, to be honest with you. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt, AC. I enjoy your show, brother. You keep doing what you're doing.
All right, let's keep in touch, man, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, until next time, Husker Nation, go big red, and always remember, throw the bones.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.